Hi everyone, welcome to the 33rd episode of Happy Hour with CarnaticON. Today I have here with me Mike, who is a tabla player from New Jersey. Hi Mike, how are you?
Good, good. Very happy to be on the happy hour with CarnaticON again, or not again, but I've seen so many of the videos now, so I feel like very familiar. And my two Guru by Guru Ben have come on here too, so I'm very happy to be finally showing up on CarnaticON.
Awesome, Mike, and I'm so happy that you've joined us as an instructor and as an artist. This is Happy Hour is a way for us to get to know you a little more. This is sort of like, a place where us as technologists connect with musicians like yourself to understand synergies and challenges and, solve some really amazing problems together. So that said, this is your day to talk about yourself, tell us your journey. How did you get introduced to Indian classical music and, what do you do now? All of that stuff.
Yeah, so I grew up playing music, but nothing involved with Indian music. I never listened to Indian music. And so I played guitar and I was playing a lot of like rock music and to the heavy, fast music. And maybe that's where I think that's where the love for tabla unknowingly began, because tabla is all about fast and exciting kind of rhythms and stuff. But yeah, so I was always very much into music, and then I was also into kind of sciences and math and physics. These were subjects that I really enjoyed in when I was in high school. And I decided to go to engineering school when I got to college. So I was doing engineering for a few years in Rutgers in New Jersey. And I grew up in New Jersey, so I was living at home with all my old friends, and there happened to be a tabla class happening in the town that was run by my Guruji, Pandit Divyang Vakil, and the Talim School of Indian Music. And so a couple of my friends, from my hometown, they somehow everybody heard about tabla. They wanted to go learn tabla. And they encouraged me. They're like, you should do this. We're doing this. None of us are Indian. None of us had any real experience with this music or the culture very much. And then I went to the class, and so many things just attracted me right away. There's the instrument itself, that it just looks so intricate and simple at the same time. Like there's a lot of like straps and all types of things, but it looks like all natural materials, and then the sounds are just, there's such variety of sounds, it's so musical. It's not a typical drum. And then the words that everyone's speaking, all of these tabla words. So there's like this very interesting language, this rhythm language. And then finally, meeting my guru, at the time I was really fascinated by him, as I understood very quickly that he was a master of this art, and I had never really met someone who was a master before. I had different music teachers and school teachers and different mentors in my life, but this was the first time that someone I could tell, like, okay, this is the pinnacle of experience with something. And he's such a passionate teacher, like also you see people teaching, but when someone teaches with their whole entire heart, and they're just so excited and they're so connected with you as a student, that's also a very special experience. And so it was all these things that just kind of, I felt like I was whipped up into some clouds. I didn't really know what was happening. And it was this summer that I started playing tabla, and I was like so crazy for it. And Guruji was giving me all these opportunities, saying, you should start teaching, because I was doing some kind of car mechanic type job. And he was like, you're going to hurt your hands. This is not the kind of work you want to be a musician. So he said, start teaching. I started teaching. So then my work was that. And then he said, you want to really become a musician, you have to live a musician's life. So you should come live with me. So then he gave me the opportunity to start living with him and really kind of delve fully into the Guru Shishya Parampara, kind of the whole atmosphere, the environment of the musician. And so all of these things, just, it kind of felt like, I don't know, I didn't even choose any of it. Just the path was coming to me. Things were saying, you should do this. And I was just like, yeah, this sounds great. And now it's been 17 years and I'm a full-time musician and teacher running the Talim school for Guruji here in the United States. And I'm super fortunate for everything that's happened. And yeah, and learning about this music also has been quite an amazing journey in terms of understanding more about myself and about life. And it started out as just, this is some exotic, this is some different kind of music, and now I feel like the real process has become that I'm really learning what is the real foundation of music. What is music outside of all cultures? So that's been my story.
Absolutely. That is such a beautiful story, Mike. Thank you so much for sharing. I should tell you, I'm super excited to be speaking with you today because I've known you in passing for, I think, a few years now. I've listened to you perform, I've met with all of you so many times, but I never really got to know your story. And I think this is like the first time we're sitting down and, listening to each other talk about our journeys. And I think this is amazing. I'm super excited. So, you did bring up a lot of interesting, pieces of information there, right? So you said you're now part of like the gurukul system where you live with your guru and learn. That is sort of like a dying tradition now, especially with, people moving out and all of that stuff. It's everything's happening online. How would you say, talk about that experience a little bit? How is it living and training with the guru?
So it's a very, very absorbed experience in terms of the impact that it has on all aspects of life and the level of expectation as well. Like you have to really show up in this space, and you have to show up in your relationship with your guru in a very, very deep way, because when you have a scheduled session or you're meeting with your guru in a particular frequency, you have time where you can kind of set yourself apart. You have like, okay, now this is me going into my own personal space. But when you live with your guru, you don't really have that same division. There's not that same level of personal space. And that's something that I think as an American, it was a big challenge, because in America, it's all about personal space. It's all about freedom and individuality and me, and I'm going to do my own thing. And yeah, and so to go into something where it's culturally very accepted that you live with multi-generation households and you stay with your family in the house forever, it's the opposite. In America, you leave. There's no question. When are you leaving is the question. So all of these things these were very different for me. And there's been different phases where it's been a struggle and finding peace with this kind of arrangement, and learning where I'm kind of creating barriers by trying to be individualistic. It's like kind of trying to animate my ego and make myself somehow bigger, and realizing that there's no point for that. and that the work of the community, the work of the kind of shared household, it creates a much greater meaning. And the perfect saying that I've heard, you know, there's an African saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that's something that I've definitely learned from Guruji in terms of this, you know, it's all these things are actually, these are the biggest life lessons and the things that I've learned in living in this way, you know, and the music is just a byproduct of it. On top of all of this, also I learned how to play tabla. I'm learning how to play tabla, and I'm getting so many beautiful experiences of hearing his compositions, because that's the other great thing, is he's not just guru, he's a composer, like a legitimate composer of tabla. So I'm constantly able to just hear him teaching other people, and hear him just he'll be in passing, he'll be, you know, coming out of his room and some composition comes out, and, you know, so it's these little moments also that really are fun. You get all these like secret teachings that they just kind of fall through the cracks, and you're there to catch them because of the living arrangement.
Yeah, I mean, that is so interesting. I would never have imagined living with my teacher and learning from her. You know, I think it's just a very different experience, like you said, and very few people get to experience it today, right? Although this tradition was built on the relationship between the guru and the shishya, I think the relationship is, you know, changed or evolved quite a bit from the time it was, you know, it was started. And I think that is, that's very interesting, you know. And I do know some of your, you know, colleagues that I'm friends with, Jin and Komal, you know, they all have very different experiences, like you said, you know, living with the teacher and learning this art form. I think, yeah, definitely, you know, it goes a long way. So in terms of your upcoming projects, Mike, do you have anything lined up that you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, the pandemic has definitely stalled a lot of the projects that were kind of happening. One of the things that we were doing as a school that I was definitely heavily involved with and excited about is this thing called Talim Yatra. So we started it in 2020, in February was when we began. We got 2 programs. It was meant to be a monthly program where we would bring really fine artists, of mostly local artists in the New York City area, New Jersey, New York area, and give an opportunity for our community and you know, to bring more people into our community where they can really have that intimate and very fine listening experience of great music. Not sometimes not always classical, also like having classical music and semi-classical, but creating a very high quality and very engaging experience where people are encouraged to be, you know, really like very detailed listening and kind of coming near to the artist, and creating that whole kind of environment. So that's something that we were doing, and we had 2 great programs, big success. And then the pandemic happened. So we've been doing some virtual versions of this. And we did a few last year. We haven't done any yet this year. So that's something that I think is going to come up in the coming months. And then otherwise, you know, we have a lot of our school activities that we always do. We do like a summer camp, and we do different school recitals. So my projects mostly are different things revolving around the school, and then around my personal performances. But one of the big things that we are really hoping in the more long term is that we want to build an ashram in the kind of greater New York area, perhaps Hudson Valley. You know, something where the vision is how to unite the pursuit of music, philosophy, and yoga in one kind of space where it's you don't see, you know, a lot of time you see like yoga is one thing and music is one thing, and you learn them separately. But to understand that it's all the same practice, if you go deep enough into it. So bringing those different disciplines and trying to bring different masters of these art forms in a place where someone can have a very immersive experience, you know, something like the gurukul type of thing, where you can come, maybe not, you don't live there permanently, but you can come for a week and you can have this experience of being in that space and surrounded by other very serious students and different experienced teachers and masters of these different art forms. So that's one of our very, very big projects that we're working on. We were very serious about it last year, and now we're kind of waiting to see how things unfold.
Yeah, that is interesting. So there is a festival that happens every year in the US. It's called Cleveland Tyagaraja Aradhana. And something very similar happens, like people from India and from, the US get together, they do a bunch of collaborations, they live together, it's a very enriching experience. So I can only imagine what this would add, to the students, right? Like, I think there's a lot of value in being completely engrossed versus being distracted with a bunch of other things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just staying focused, I think, will definitely help. So in terms of the pandemic, Mike, this is one question I ask all of my musicians, all of the artists on the platform. How has the pandemic changed you as a person?
I would say it's definitely made me a little bit more grounded. It's brought me more into a simple life, more appreciation of simple things, home cooked food, and just good practice, and connecting with my students and my family in a much deeper way, and appreciating the time spent in life. I think before I was running a lot, and I hope to keep running and working, but to be a little bit more appreciative of the time spent, with people, and when you don't have a lot of connection, then you kind of build up that the more appreciation of it, of the connections. And absolutely, my practice has gotten much, much deeper, and my I feel like I have grown a lot musically, and in terms of Talim school community, and so it's been, I would say, an overwhelming, very fortunate and blessed experience for me, and I've definitely been really lucky. It's hard to see all the difficulty and pain and suffering that people are going through, and especially right now, India is just in such a fragile and painful position, and to have so many people that I'm very close to, going through this and all the uncertainty that comes with it, it's just really terrible. And I really hope that things will improve, and that there's some more kind of support and organization to help pull things out of this.
Yeah, I mean, I must say I'm in India at the moment. So, I think we are in complete lockdown and things are looking so much better than they were a few weeks ago. So I think yes, we're definitely, not in a very good shape, but, I think we're just, all staying put. We are following rules. We are, wearing our masks and doing all of that stuff to make things better. And they are definitely, the situation is improving for sure.
That's good.
Yeah. So in terms of the work you do, do you feel like the projects have changed, from your pre-pandemic to your, pandemic experiences working with your digital projects and all of that stuff? Do you feel like that's changed?
Oh yeah, so different. Just video projects are the main medium, and I had always done video editing for the school and for my own personal things, and some audio recording work. But through the pandemic, I had to learn about live streaming. So I was researching all these things about Facebook live streaming and YouTube live streaming, encoding, and all these things, and different softwares. So I tried out a whole lot of things. I've gone much deeper into video editing and audio recording, and we've done a variety of things where we'll have people, like one of the projects that has come out is called Katak quarantine Katak connections. It's like it's a project that was started by Guruji, my guru, and his son Rushi Vakil. So they will Guruji will compose some Kathak piece, and he has many Kathak dancers that has started learning Tal Vidya from him. So learning about the rhythm and how their dance can kind of be improved by learning different aspects of the Indian rhythm system, the tals, and learning tabla bowls and all that stuff. So he has many dancers that are learning in this way, and they'll choreograph, but they all just film it at their home. And I play tabla, and Rushi will compose some music, and then we take all of the videos and put it together in some thing, and we're doing it on our Instagram and Facebook. And so that all these kinds of things, and figuring out like, how can we make things together? How can we make music together, make dance and music come together in digital spaces? So it's been a lot of exploration, technology mostly.
Yeah, that's been the case for most of us, I think. Even we just got comfortable with Zoom and everything, which is quite different from the way we usually attend meetings, right? We're more comfortable facing the camera now than we were probably like a year ago. So yeah, that's good. So Mike, we've been talking for a while now. We obviously, want you to play your tabla for all of us. So if you have it handy, can you please, play a few beats for us?
Sure. Let me change this setup a little bit. So we'll play some Kaida and Tintal. tin tin da da din da 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 digina tin digina da da krida ti digina da digina da krida da krida da krida din krida din krida krida da 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 da. One more piece. Da kadagidin nagadet kadigin tran da dinta katita delegda 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 kada delegda 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 kada delegda 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 delegda.
Oh my God, you guys are just amazing. You create magic.
Thank you.
This fabulous, fabulous. I mean, obviously, I brought my family to some of your shows. When it's live, it's mesmerizing, but the energy is still radiating even via Zoom. This is pretty awesome.
Well, we try and
Very
try to
cool.
get the energy out there.
Yeah, this is gorgeous. So thank you so much for
Thank
that,
you.
Mike. We're all happy to check out some of your other projects, and we'll also add a bunch of links in the bio for people to go check out more of your work. So awesome. So is there anything else that you want to highlight in terms of like upcoming concerts or anything like that? Do you want to invite our audience to any of your upcoming events?
Well, one thing that I played tabla for that's premiering this Saturday is it's called Dancing with the Gods Festival. As it's led by the World Music Institute, which is based in New York City, but this is an entirely virtual festival. So there's going to be a few, just like 4 dance performances, and they're all virtual like films. So Jean Wan, who was on the show last year, so she's my colleague and my tabla sister. So it's her film. It's all her choreography, and it's all very contemporary film approach, and a lot of digital kind of textures in different ways. But it's all based around kathak, and my tabla is all in there. So it's going to be this Saturday evening. I can have the kind of link for the when you post the video, so we can put this link out. But yeah, so that's definitely going to be a really exciting thing because it's absolutely original, something that I've never seen anything like this before, a way of presenting kathak. So I think it's going to be a really, really big hit, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, I can totally vouch for that. I think Talim School of Music has always been very visionary and very, forward thinking in terms of, creative and innovative projects. So I remember the Niagara Falls event that you guys did. There's like a bunch of different things that you were
Yeah, the rhythmic free
pioneers in.
fall. Yeah, we brought 100 tabla players to a waterfall outside of Ithaca, New York, to play outside with the music,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful. It was so much fun.
That's so, so, so good. All right. So, Mike, this was amazing. It was lovely chatting with you. We are huge ambassadors of diversity and inclusion, and I think bringing you on the show is definitely like a testimony to a lot of work that we do. And we'd be happy for you to continue to promote this gorgeous art form worldwide. So we're very happy for this collaboration, and we look forward to working with you in the future as well. So thank you so much, Mike. You have a good one.
Yeah, and thank you again for bringing me on with CarnaticON. I've seen so many of the happy hours, and I just love how your whole platform and your artist community is growing, day by day. And I really am very excited about the way that you guys are supporting, these various art forms and this different cultural tradition. And so I'm just really excited to be a part of it. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Likewise, we're very excited to have you as well. For all of you watching, please do tune in next week for another episode of the Happy Hour. Thank you, Mike. You take care. Bye.